Drop sets can save you a ton of time in the gym without losing you any gains. In fact, you can make even better muscle gains if you set these up correctly, and that's the key part. After this video, you'll know how to do that. Drop sets have been around for a long time. They're a bit of an old school bodybuilding technique. They give you a great pump, and you look really cool doing them in 70s style training montages, especially if you're wearing headbands and short shorts whilst clanging metal plates around. But it's only recently the drop sets have been studied for their extensive use in muscle building. It's been revealed that they're not just for impersonating Arnold or Ronnie Coleman. They're a fantastic way of getting more work done in less time.
The concept is simple. You pick an exercise, you perform a normal set, then you lighten the load and immediately perform another set, essentially continuing on with the work, with minimal rest in between. The reduced set is a drop set. You may perform multiple drop sets back to back in order to perform more sets overall. The idea is that you save time by skipping rest. Imagine how you perform a regular exercise with normal rest. You complete one set, maybe 20 to 30 seconds in length, then rest for 1 minute 30 seconds, then go again. Your sets may get slower as you go due to fatigue. Your rest may be a bit longer. Once you've done your sets, you then move on to the next exercise, repeating that cycle again. With appropriate rest, 3 sets may take you around 6 minutes. 4 minutes 30 seconds of those are rest. You could cut the rest time down, but that might limit performance, therefore giving you less muscle gains as a result. If you cut the rest down, you'll need to lower the weight or reps you perform. This is where drop sets come in. You replace some of your traditional sets with drop sets, or tag drop sets on at the end. The reduction of load allows you to continue to put your muscles to work. Some of the muscle fibres recover in between drop sets. Some of them aren't fully taxed until the very end of each set. They can't produce a high amount of force, so you can't lift the same weight as what you first started with. But they can still produce enough force to continue lifting progressively lighter loads. And by taking drop sets close to failure, you still get a high stimulus for muscle growth. Taking 30 seconds to rest between drop sets rather than 1 to 2 minutes between traditional sets can give you a nice amount of time back overall. Especially if you do more sets in total, this can really add up. You just need to do enough drop sets to make up for the traditional sets you replace. If you're trying to accumulate as much training volume as possible, for example a high number of sets per week per muscle group, performance in drop sets can be really useful. Or if you're short for time, these can make your shorter time more effective.
Here are some key considerations. Drop sets are really taxing. You go from one set or drop set into the next with very little rest. Your muscles may be burning, you feel weaker, your heart rate is up, you're sweating. These are tough. See, you knew there would be a trade-off. Because of the fatigue, form can break down. We'd advise you to perform drop sets for movements with less technical complexity or ones you're well practiced in. Poorly performed reps may negatively impact the stimulus and lead to less muscle growth. Drop sets turn straight sets into longer, almost continuous sets, so a certain degree of cardiovascular fitness is advisable. You don't need to be able to run marathons, but be conditioned enough so that you don't gas out before your muscles are fully fatigued. You should aim to take your drop sets close to failure to maximize the benefits, so you need to be familiar with training close to or completely to failure. For all the reasons mentioned above, we wouldn't recommend these to beginners. They're a more advanced training technique. There is a practical component to drop sets. Some movements are not great choices in general. Exercises should involve minimal time to reduce the load between sets. For example, pin and stack machines are amazing for drop sets. Some plate loaded machines are also great if you load your plates correctly. So think about adding the right plates to allow for easy drop-offs between the sets. Less beneficial examples would be movements that require you to remove clips and slide plates off, like deadlifts, or some dumbbell work so you're not walking weights back and forth to the racks. In these cases, not only are the rest durations not really saving you time, but you're fatigued by the nature of the task of changing the weight, which takes away from your lifting ability. You can do drop sets with dumbbells if you have all the dumbbells set up ready, but if you're in a busy gym, don't be the girl or guy hogging all the dumbbells from the 20 kgs down to the 10 kgs. You should also consider a safety component. Drop sets get really hard, so instead of multiple drop sets on back squats where you already have a heavy bar loaded on your spine, maybe save them for leg extensions which have a lower risk of injury if you fail a set. Following on from this, more stable movements are better. Your cardio will be taxed, your muscles will feel weaker, and you'll feel a bit more wobbly. And because you're going to be a bit out of breath due to the continuous nature of drop sets, you don't want exercises that already have a high degree of cardiovascular fatigue involved. Big compound movements are probably not wise, things like Romanian deadlifts, and single leg movements are out too. Imagine double drop set in Bulgarian split squats. I feel sick just thinking about it. For these reasons, machines are often the best options, or just one singular drop set for the bigger lifts.
So let's move on to how to perform them. There are two main options and we'll explain both. You have add-on drop sets or standalone drop sets. The main difference between the two is the amount of regular sets you do before the drop sets. Standalone drop sets means that you're going straight into the drop set just following one normal set. Add-on drop sets are additional to multiple normal sets. You just add drop sets to the last set. Remember, the idea with drop sets is that we want to match the amount of work we would normally do to regular sets. We will be lifting less weight due to the continuous element. Therefore, the stimulus will be lower with each set performed. Fortunately, we have some research recommendations which have worked out that 10 traditional sets are matched by roughly 13 drop sets. So this gives us a good figure to go by. For every one normal set we remove, we need to add 1.3 drop sets. So let's look at each option.
For standalone drop sets, the recommendation is to perform one normal set plus 3 to 5 drop sets. Perform one traditional set in close proximity to failure or to failure. Reduce the load by around 20% and continue to complete reps on the new weight until failure. Further reduce the load by around 20% again and keep going until failure again. Repeat this until all planned drop sets are completed. For add-on drop sets, the recommendation is to add 1 to 2 drop sets on the end of traditional sets. Perform 2 to 4 traditional sets in close proximity to failure or to failure. Then reduce the load by around 20% and continue to complete reps on this new weight until failure. Repeat this until all planned drop sets are completed. Let's move on to some general tips. Uncomplicated movements to perform and set up work best. If you fail to complete more than 4 to 5 reps, then you may need a slightly bigger reduction in weight between sets. If you need to complete more than 12 reps in order to get close to failure, then you may have dropped the weight down too much in your drop sets, so don't take as much of a big drop next time. That said, some exercises may require bigger drops than others. Tracking the performance of drop sets should be done the same as any other sets you do. You don't have to race against time to begin your next drop set after you finish a traditional set or another drop set. 20 to 30 seconds recovery may be enough to get your breath back a little. Logging your performance and dropping the weight down is probably enough time rested. Standalone drop sets may save a little bit more time than add-on drop sets, but you cut down the rest time. This may increase your perception of effort during your session. In summary, drop sets are a highly effective way of saving time and building muscle. They are slightly more advanced than other training methods, so they may be less suited to beginners. Beginners typically do not need to consider training volumes that are so high that time becomes a major factor. They often grow very well with less volume anyway. Drop sets are best performed with uncomplicated movements. For bigger lifts, the add-on method is recommended to standalone drop sets. You can choose between the two drop set options depending on the exercise being performed and the time saved. Try to add 1.3 drop sets for every traditional set you are replacing. You don't have to perform drop sets all the time, but a great use is when you're time strapped to get your regular training volume done. Or during a period in which you want to push growth in some muscle groups as much as possible without huge increases in time spent in the gym. We recommend using them for a phase, then switching it up. Our final video will be on rest pauses. We hope to see you there.